Welcome to Recovery, the Whole Enchilada, a podcast dedicated to exploring the many layers of healing and growth within the recovery community. I'm your host, Peg McDermott, along with my co-host, the beautiful
Heather Hageman.
who just had a birth.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's my birthday, and it was so wonderful. It was so sweet. I had my adult kids come to town. One came from New York, one came from Richmond, and we all went out to dinner, and it was just all I wanted was my family together, and I got it. So,
Yep, got your wish.
got my wish.
And to that end, today's conversation is about gratitude and just how the many ways we manifest gratitude in our day-to-day lives. Heather, why don't you get us started? Because we just had a really nice conversation before we started recording.
So when I think about gratitude as being probably the most important ingredient to living the most successful and fulfilling life. What do you think about that?
100%.
100%. And we learn in the early years or the early days is that it feels like there's not much to be grateful for, but if we can just turn just a little shift in the, I'm grateful I've got a toilet, I'm grateful I've got running water. I'm grateful I've got a roof over my head. I mean, just little tiny little baby steps to the point where you are grateful, as I was sharing with you just now, that today marks the 10 years since my father, who was a general in the Marine Corps, fighter pilot, passed away peacefully in Grand Junction, Colorado. And I am remembering him, and I'm remembering the moments that led up to his passing and the most beautiful way that the veterans honored him in the hospital there. I'll just share this. When someone passes at the hospital, the whole staff stops and everybody gathers in the hallway. So he had a American flag placed over him and a sheet and a flag, and then they had a rose, and then they slowly pushed him out of the room down the hallway, and everybody saluted, and they rang like a ship bell.
Wow.
Yeah. And a certain amount of numbers too for the passing of a warrior.
Yeah.
So when we went outside, it was almost as if the whole world was upside down, because here's Grand Junction, which is there's hardly any weather changes there, if anything. And here in this particular night, the weather had changed drastically. So there was wind and dark clouds, and it was almost as if the world was mourning this great man as they put him into the hearse, and two police officers saluted him as they rolled him off. And, I was pretty broken back then. I mean, I was pretty devastated, and, I was in recovery, yes, but it hurt so bad to lose probably one of the most important people in my life. But there was a lot of support. There was a lot of support. And I'm so grateful for that. But I'm reflecting today, and that's how we started this conversation, Peg, is that there's not this sharpness or piercing brokenness that I feel about this anymore. There's actually, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I can embrace today with so much gratitude and so much joy and peace. And just knowing that I'm a better person having known him. It's so fascinating. When my parents were alive, I was always looking at them at the cause of all these issues. Right? But now that they've been gone, it's so freeing, because my relationship is better with them now. But it's just so freeing because none of it matters. And that's the thing that I realize at my age, since I just had this birthday too, big birthday number, 65, is that I don't want to worry and fret and be fearful or have despair or hopelessness over anything anymore. I really want to live in the presence, in the present moment awareness of life, and enjoy all the awe and wonder and the glimmers, beautiful glimmers. We've talked about that are opposite of triggers. I want to just soak in the beauty of this world and do everything I can to place myself in safe situations the best that I can. and really help my nervous system to be a very calming place to be, so that I live in a safe haven inside myself, and I live from a place of constant gratitude, and I live from a place of being inside, looking out, not looking outside in.
Mhm.
That's a whole shift, I think, as time goes on, that you have that wonderful foundation inside that feels calming and peaceful. And what's going on out here, people can do what they want, let them live and let live is the motto. And today I just do what I can to keep on my side of gratitude. And that's what I try to do every day.
Yes, and that's beautifully said. And your dad was a general, right? Wasn't he a
Yes.
general? He was, I remember meeting him. He was a force of nature. I really loved his energy.
Mm.
That's how we walk through the world. And he
Yeah.
gave a lot of that to you, right? Because you walk
Definitely.
in the same way.
I think that's what I'm grateful for, because it's like he hasn't left me. He's in my heart. If anything, sometimes he takes over. And I've got to say, okay, General, pull it back.
I agree. And I lost my mom when I first came into this program and I first got sober. And I'd only been sober maybe a year. And I remember so grateful at the time that I was sober, because I don't know, I wouldn't have done well through that had I still been drinking. And it's not as sharp as it was. I'm very grateful. The pain isn't as sharp as it was, but I still miss her.
Mhm.
But I don't have that. Sometimes it feels a little bit like an ache, but it's evolved into this peace. And the peace that I was able to make with her and my relationship with her. And I realized just how much I loved her. And I know how much she loved me and my brother. And then losing Tim, my brother, like, what was I? Was he 15 years, 20 years into,
Mhm.
and that also was deeply affected me. And I didn't feel the need to drink through it. What I was able to do is feel through it and heal from our issues that my brother and I had. And so to be able to now see it through a different filter is such a gift, because I don't want to walk through life with resentments and that heaviness. I don't believe that we're meant to do that. But a lot of folks do, even well into sobriety. And I think it comes back to gratitude and how gratitude changes, it rewires our brain, frankly. I mean, it does have a physiological effect on us, and spiritual and emotional and mental. It just really, it's like meditation. It really is able to hit on all the main areas of our lives and have a profound effect on how we view the world. It has on how I view the world. And so, we can look at what isn't in our lives right now or look at what is. And I really need to make sure I remind myself of that, because as a recovering alcoholic, I am wired to look at the negative. And I think that our brain is wired to protect us from life. And so it's wired to look at the negative. And it takes a concerted effort, and the program has helped me with that. And those in recovery have helped me with that how important gratitude is. I always thought of this as a cliche, and it's not. It's a foundation for living. And I have noticed that when I do consciously look at the things that I have in my life today, and the gratitude I have for it, a nice office, a beautiful friend that I'm doing a podcast with, the technology that's available for us to do a podcast. It's a beautiful summer day outside. It's gorgeous. And there's just so much to look at and be like, wow, there's so many gifts here, and it fills me up, and I immediately look at things differently. So it's that daily practice of even writing down 5 things at the end of every day that you were grateful for that day. I do that every night, and it does make a difference. It's like, "Oh, wow, that," and I'm looking for things that I can put in my journal, my gratitude journal. So, it's like, "Oh, I'm gonna put that was from that guy just opened the door for me, and, oh, isn't that yeah, I got a parking spot," and, you just look for those things because they're always there. There a day can be filled with things to be grateful for.
Absolutely, and it's so interesting because 'cause I'm coming up with this quote that I remember hearing. It's something like, "It's hard to be hateful when you're grateful."
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, isn't that a good one? And I would say before recovery, hate was, very much a part of my vocabulary and my thinking. Hateful, resentful, rage, revenge, all those things. And, it takes time. Like, I remember being in meetings early on and being around people and people like, "Oh, so grateful. I'm an alcoholic." I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my gosh, oh, another gratitude meeting. Come on, but I tell you, it's interesting because now, yeah, when we were talking, today, it was like, yeah, we could talk about gratitude forever because that is the healing. And, is to come to this place that, in my opinion, every detail and everything that happened in my life was orchestrated for me to be who I am right now in this moment, right here, today.
Mhm.
And and it's such a more softer way to live, with a grateful, heart than it is to live with a heart full of revenge. And I just saw something. Gosh, I was gonna read it some more. I only could touch base on it, but it was saying that the worst addiction, they're saying now, it's not drugs, it's not all these things, it's actually being addicted to revenge.
Re
It it does the most damage to the brain.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, there was a study that just came out on that. To say that one study is the end all of a study, but that really surprised me, but at the same time, think about what it takes, you know,
Yeah.
to keep that kind of energy going. Yeah,
Yeah. I
brain
think
damage.
well,
Yeah.
it's exhausting. I mean, that takes a lot of energy.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. I found it. It says brain drug. The deadliest addiction isn't a drug. It's your brain on revenge. And it looks like your brain on drugs.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
Hmm.
Yes. Fascinating.
Yeah. I think that's sad too.
It is sad.
We can do things differently in our little corner of the world. And that's what's important because we take what we've learned and we take it out into the world and we do the best we can one day at a time. And it's been about, looking at specific things throughout my day that I am grateful for. And it's not so much, like these micro moments of someone smiled at me in the store today, or, my partner made coffee, or I love my comfortable bed. I have running water. You know, we can look for many things and people can take that as they will, but it does change how we externally see our world because it's not what's going on in the world, it's what I see, how I feel when I look out at the world and how I view it. That's my perspective. And gratitude has helped me to change that. And if I don't keep like a daily practice, even just consciously looking for these moments, I will find negative things to focus on. That's what my brain will automatically want to look at. Oh, that's not there. And I'm comparing myself to that person because I thought I would be here where they are, and I'm not. And it's like, wait a minute, they're on their path and I'm on mine. And I'm not sure what God's plan is, but I know it's good.
You know, I injured my knee really badly a month ago, and it's been a hard recovery because about 2 weeks into it, I had a cortisone shot that I thought would be helpful. The doctor said it was going to help my knee, and unfortunately, I had a bad reaction to it. So I had what's called a cortisone flare. And, I could have let that take me out. I could have been like, WTF. And I am going to tell you, I have had some of those thoughts, but,
Yeah.
why? What's the point? It is what it is. What I did find, though, that was really hard for me was to have this hope that I wasn't going to have this pain for the rest of my life. Like I went into this thinking, if this is how I'm going to have to live the rest of my life, that's the negative brain taking over. I'm not going to be able to do this. So people would tell me, oh, I had knee surgery. I can't tell you how many people,
Oh, yeah.
strangers everywhere, people, I had this knee, I had this knee. And then I would say, well, how's your knee now? And they're like, it's great. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to be grateful for the strangers that have shared their story. I'm going to be grateful for the physical therapist that had ACL surgery last year. So she knows exactly what she's kind of dealing with me, and she's very motivated. So there's a lot of different things, and I'm going to be grateful that I didn't work for a month, which is not what I really counted on, but I was able to not work for a month and really slow down and rest and write the book that I'm writing. And I'm grateful that maybe that's what it took, to be tripped up like this. Sometimes when we injure ourselves, there's a little angel saying, oh, I'm going to trip you to slow you down, girl. Got to get Heather to slow down.
Exactly. And I think I had surgery on both knees for ACL tears, and they're great. So just a little moment there to let you know that this will work out just fine. But that's not to say it's not difficult when you go through it, because there is a
Yeah.
process, But like
Yeah.
you said, you look at your physical therapist and it's caused you to slow down and enjoy some things you probably wouldn't have had time to enjoy.
Very
So
much. Yeah.
exactly. And, you know, when I first got sober and well into sobriety, I was pretty pessimistic. It just felt safer to be pessimistic. Okay, something crappy's coming. I'm going to prepare myself now. And this gratitude practice has helped to sort of train my brain to look for, as I said, the good things throughout the day, even little things. And what that's helped me to do too is train my brain to look at the bigger challenges and how those have brought how grateful I am for larger issues that have come into my life and pain and the things I've had to learn. And at the time, it feels like shit, but it's like, okay, I now know that I have tools today. I don't have to linger in it, but at the same time, I can accept that I'm feeling a certain way, and that's okay. Feelings are not facts, they're just feelings. And it's like I might be pissed off about something, or I may not be happy about a situation, and that's okay as long as I don't linger in it. And then after a while, I look at what positive things have come from my experience with this person. What lessons did I learn about what I do want in a relationship and what I don't want? And there are no accidents in God's world. And that's, my HP, whom I choose to call God. I believe she, it's all in the details. God is in every detail of my life. And because of that, I feel very protected and safe, and know that I can meet life on life's terms without drinking, and not allowing feelings to swallow me whole and be like, wait a minute, it's okay to feel these feelings. I couldn't feel anything for a long time. So it's the balance, and gratitude keeps me balanced as well. And I think, just having a daily practice, whether it's making a list or just being mindful of, you know what, when I wake up, I'm going to look for 5 things today that I'm going to be grateful for. And they'll show up, and they will, because we find what we're looking for, whether it's great or not so great. And, I see that the enough thinking has been challenging for me, having enough, being enough. But the gratitude piece has helped me in that regard. Is, I am enough. I see all of the beautiful things in my life. I see the things that I've been able to do for people that they're grateful for. And it fills me up like nothing else.
And I, I'm always this neuroscience traumatologist geek, and I'm always like thinking what helps the brain. And I just was looking at something here I want to share with you. It says that and this helps me, you see, because I think we're very wise, and it's been, suggested to us many, many years ago before we can even look in the brain and see what's going on, right? Be grateful, right? Have gratitude. That's going to help make you feel better. Well, they know that it stimulates the release of dopamine and serotonin, which are two very, very important feel-good neurotransmitters that promote these feelings of happiness and contentment. But here's the thing that's so beautiful is that the studies are showing, actually, when they look into the brain structures, that practicing gratitude can alter the brain circuits to reduce the impact of negative emotions, okay? So I just think that it says consistent gratitude practice can induce long-lasting changes in the brain function and structure, particularly in the reward system, and that these regions are important for emotional regulation and social information processing. So whatever's going on here, having a grateful heart you can't use, if we can live in that frequency of gratitude, is the attitude that we are healing ourselves. And I think that's why this consistent practice, that's why today I can not mourn and be all about me losing my dad, but be like grateful I had this man and for all that he did for the world and how he, influenced me and influenced my family. And just that, all that time, those 10 years have made my brain heal so that I can sit today, not in tears, but in a feeling of joy, just for having known him. And, of course, we're always going to miss people. That's just normal, but it's not a missing that's devastating me, but it's a missing that, I miss you in human form, but wow, you live on in me, in my heart, and I'm so grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then that lives on in your children, right?
Yes.
In your grandchildren, and the effect that he had and your mom had on you. It's 10 years. I remember when we were in Grand Junction, and I remember meeting him at your home there, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful country out there. It was like the mesas and just the colors, and it's just so different than what we see here on the East Coast, just a different kind of beauty. And I remember when I was there, he would go out and the flagpole, he would add,
yes,
and that was his ritual. The flag went up and then the flag came down. I mean, that was his way that's how he framed his day. It was beautiful.
He'd stand there at night and salute.
Mm.
And I remember taking a picture of him saluting, standing there.
Yeah.
Amazing human. And I'm grateful that he was my father. And I'm, and I only hope to live up to that. I mean, I think a lot of what drives me is to be that kind of person and be that kind of parent. And I love seeing my grown kids who, and for the most part, they're not in these rooms. They won't be in these rooms. They are, and if anything, they are maybe over the top in their self-care. I mean, both of them are
Mhm.
eat so well, and both of them exercise. And I will say that my son was looking at me because I always tend to stare at my kids a lot because I don't live with them anymore. So I'm kind of always trying to memorize them. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm just looking at you just to remember, this moment. I want to treasure it forever. I'm so grateful for this moment right here, right now." And then I started to cry. And
Oh,
then I said, because this was the greatest thing I ever did in my life, was to be your mom. And there was a time in my life where I couldn't even handle being a mom because I couldn't handle my own self. And I just feel so sad that I was that mom back then. But it's okay. I finally got into recovery, I've got double digits of being that mom. But those early days, I didn't know any better, and I was making wrong decisions. It doesn't matter. The thing is, I'm not that mom anymore. I'm the mom I always wanted to be, but I only have a little bit of grief that I wish the mom that I am today was back there. But you know what? It all works out. It all works out.
it
But
does.
I do truly believe that it really works out from the most central and most important way to live is in this gratitude for everything that I'm grateful that I'm running late and I'm hitting all red lights. Maybe I'm being saved from an accident. I don't know. I'm
Right.
whatever it is, I'm grateful for the opportunity to embrace the challenge and the joys and the challenges of my life, but not doing this alone. I do this with a we, you, me, we, and do it with a power greater than me.
Mhm.
And sometimes that power can just be love, unconditional love.
Mhm.
And so that's how we do this, together.
Exactly. And I love what you said about, you know, how you communicated with your son. Because, we thank in this gratitude mind space, I believe we thank people for who they are, not just what they do. And we're not just, we appreciate their actions, but we appreciate their traits as well. And being specific about what you're grateful for. Like, I felt really alone yesterday and I really appreciated you listening. Or,
Mhm.
you took the time to ask me how I was doing and you listened and you really cared, and it's like being that specificity really does land. It's like, yeah, the general gratitude's great too, but if we can be specific, especially when we're expressing gratitude, even to ourselves, it's like, wow, I really enjoyed how I handled that particular situation, or I'm glad I was able to say to the cashier at the grocery store, how's your day been going? Because they looked miserable.
Mhm.
And he said, "Well, it's been a long day. I've worked a double." And, people have their thing. They have issues. We have no idea what they're going through. And it's like just to smile and just say, "Well, I hope it gets better for you. I hope you have a great night." Yeah, it's like that takes 30 seconds. So it feels, um, I don't know, it brings more depth and color to my day. And I love that. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Recovery the Whole Enchilada. If you connected with today's episode, please share it, like it, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Your feedback does help us to shape future conversations. We love you. And remember that your recovery story, with all its flavors and textures and complexities, matters deeply. And until next time, stay strong, keep growing, and be grateful. Love you, honey.
Love you too. Thanks, Peg.